you for your smile to me. Thank you for your love for me.
Svava, can you introduce yourself?
It's beautiful. Oh, I'm just so grateful to be here. So grateful for the invitation. Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. And it was funny when you mentioned I got more than you. No, I got nothing more than anyone. Exactly the same. Yeah. Well, it's been a while. It's been years since I shared about my story, and so I was praying about how to do this today. But I think it's very important to like share little bit of what I went through, what happened, and then how I came out of it, like the miracle of it, like see it from the light, from the love. My whole like story in the psychiatric world happened when I lived in Denmark. I'm originally from Iceland, and what was going on in my mind was that I was believing in all the false thoughts in my mind. I was believing that I was not good enough. I was believing that I was just completely unworthy. I had no skills, no nothing. And it was kind of like a spiral that went down and down and down. And I was trying to make it in the world, trying to fit in a box. I have a very abstract mind. Like I was painting a lot, and I had so much, but it didn't fit in the world how I saw it. And so I tried to be like I thought I was supposed to be. So I pushed everything down that actually was the truth of who I am, pushed love down, pushed everything down, and I started believing in all the doubts about myself. And that was what started reflecting in the world. It was started being very clear to me. I can see that now, that I got in a relationship where my partner started telling me that my paintings were ugly, that I was just not good enough, that I should shut up when I was singing in the car. Everything I loved, that the truth of me was, I pushed it down. So I started believing in all these doubt thoughts. These doubt thoughts were in my mind. It was not like, everything I have in my mind, it all gets reflected back at me. So it was just this, like the ego was just, you're not good enough, you can't do anything. And I just started get down, and I was started not being able to work. And when you're not working for a while in Denmark, I just got caught in the system. Then I had to go to meetings in the government, and they started kind of, and I let them take over what I should do and not to. And then I started getting medications, and I was just so afraid. I was in so much fear, and I just took all kinds of drugs, and I got so many different diagnoses for mental illness. It actually turned up to 5 different mental illness diagnosis in the end. And for over a decade, I was taking medications, and all my spark and everything that I really had within me, that was the solution. The love was the solution. I just pushed it down, and I got more and more distant from it with all my medications. And what happened was that when I got the last diagnosis, something hit me. And I thought, this can't be true about myself. These things can't be true, Svava. This is not true. There must be something else. And I remember making a decision I had twin sons. At that point, they were 13, I believe. And I made a decision. I was a single mom with them. And I thought, okay, if I can pull myself up, if I can find something and I can take a trip to Iceland and rent a summer house and go on vacation with these boys and travel around, then there is something in me that can do something. Then there is some strength. So I found a spark of strength to rent out my apartment. So I had money to go to Iceland. And a friend borrowed me a car, so I didn't have to rent a car. And I rented a summer house for a week, and I traveled with them. I went on a boat to an island where my mom was raised, and I had so much fun, and my sons were enjoying it. Like, oh, mom suddenly became alive. And when I came back to Denmark from this trip, I had the strength to end this relationship. There was I was seeing that I was so dependent. I had put myself into like, I can't do anything. And I believed all these doubt thoughts. So I had put myself in a situation where I was so dependent on my boyfriend, and we didn't even live together. I made him control everything, even though he didn't even live in my apartment. It was so distorted in my mind. But I came back and I entered this relationship, and he didn't even believe me. He would be coming back, no, you're going to take me back. But I was like, in my mind, there was this voice, just, no, stay with me. No, stay with me. Just be here. Everything's going to be okay. But I got very, very sick because I had to pull through all this. I couldn't sleep at night. I was sweating so much, like I had a bath in my bed. It was just like so extreme. And then I started losing weight and everything. And I was like, okay, I followed this. I am now, quote, by myself. What am I going to do? And I was down on my knees and I was praying and crying, and to find a solution, something to help me. And I had been for probably 15 years studying all kinds of different spiritual pathways. Went to India, and I felt I had done everything. I tried everything, but nothing was really working. And I was on my knees that day, and I prayed God just to help me. And the next day, A Course in Miracles showed up on the screen. I was listening to a video with Eckhart Tolle, and he was sharing about it, and something just happened to me. It was like I heard this is the answer, and I felt just so much love, like poof, coming out. I knew that it was God answered to me, and I got the book in Danish. I've shared the story before, and I opened it, and I heard in my mind, Svava, no, you have to study this in English. And I only had school English. I was not used to, speaking English or anything. But I thought I have to follow this. It was like I had this deep inner happened, and I closed the book in Danish, ordered it in English, and got it in English. And at the same time, reading the course in English, I learned English, really. I had to look up the words and everything and use Google Translate. But it was just so amazing. I felt like God had given me a way out of all these dark thoughts in my mind and beliefs about myself. And at that point, I was still on many different medications. And I started studying, I started reading, and things just started showing up for me, all kinds of things, like answers in, a song coming. It got so more bigger. It has always been there, and it's always there for us. The answers are always there, but I was just so close that I didn't see it. So I started to truly see. And then I heard in my mind one day that I needed to let go of the medications. And I had tried myself for a long time, but I got in so much fear about it, because the doctors did not think it was a good idea. So I was trying to do it like on my own. And it wasn't working. It got more intense. So I basically started taking more pills. Like it was not helpful. And then I heard in my mind, Svava, this you can let go of. This you can let go of. This you have to reduce the doses. And this as well. I just heard very clearly. So I threw the pills away. I could let go of right away. It was so clear in my mind. And then I heard, these pills, you take this much down, you reduce this, and for so many weeks. And then it was like that for 5 months. And I was out of everything after 5 months. And during this time as well, so many miracles started coming to me. I started hearing some music, and like my mind opened up to that I had so much to give. It was like it all flipped around. And I was just doing the course, by myself, some things like online, connecting a bit with people. And then one day I felt like I had this thought, like there must be something more. I'm ready to something more. And I was looking around, not really searching anything specific. But then a retreat with David Hoffmeister and the Living Miracles showed up in Holland. Was going to be in Holland some months later. And I had not been following David's teachings at all. Maybe I've seen some videos a little bit, but I had not been like following him. But when I saw this, and I just felt like I had already been there, like it was already done. And I signed up for it. And then I got in huge fear about it. I tried to cancel it, but I didn't hear anything back. It was not Spirit's plan. I was supposed to go there. I tried to fight it, but then I thought, okay, Svava, you just have to follow this. And so many amazing things happened even on the way, on the plane. I had like figured everything out, where to I had to take 2 different trains and a bus, and it was like out in the far away in the country. And I had never traveled on my own. Like I had taken this one trip with my sons. Otherwise I not like, done anything like on my own. And the plane was delayed. So my plan didn't work anymore. So I got in huge fear. And I was praying on the plane, was praying and praying and praying. There has to be a way to let this fear go. And then when the plane landed, this fear just flipped around. So suddenly I was just so excited. I was just so happy that I had made it. I was like, I made it. I'm in Holland now. And then usually I was like hiding in my apartment. I had become very afraid of people, afraid of going out. I didn't go shopping unless it was dark and night when no people were in the shops. It was that extreme. And then on the plane, I just, in this like excitement and this like, wow, this joy, I felt like I was not alone. There was divine beings with me. I was just like, wow, I am not on my own. I had such strength. And I started talking to people on the plane, and they were like reflecting this joy back to me. And this one man told me, well, I showed him the address. Can you please help me? I don't know where to go. And he told me my parents lived there. And that was just like, oh my God, everything is so given, you know, when we are open. And he showed me where to go, and I had help, angels just coming and people coming and helping me, like to buy a ticket, help me to, you know, even walk with me to the bus. This is the bus. And, you know, it was just amazing. It was like I was in a different world than I had been for years and years and years. And coming to this on the bus and everything, and out of the bus, it was all dark. It was like 9 o'clock in the evening, and the retreat was going to start the next day. And I got out of the bus and I didn't know where to go. So I said, okay, Holy Spirit, Jesus, God, what am I going to do now? And I heard in my mind, Svava, turn around and walk to the house behind you and knock on the door. And I was like, okay, everything was dark in this town, but there was light in this house. So I walked down there and knocked on the door, and this beautiful elderly couple opened the door, and they didn't speak any English. So I tried like to explain, I'm going to this place and the address, and the guy, you know, they were old people. They were probably like 75, 80 years old. And the man, he came with me and did like this, and he took my bag and he walked like almost like half the way at least, and then pointed where to go. And it was just like, oh my God, everything is so, it was like my mind was starting to like change and light up, like I am worthy. I am worthy of this. And then the reflections, it was just, oh, it was so beautiful. And I got into this retreat and into the cafeteria. It was like 8-10 people sitting there. And I just came in like, is this the retreat, the David Hoffmeister and Living Miracles? And they were like, yeah, it is. Yeah. And everyone was just like so happy and high on energy. And they like, do you want coffee? And, you know, everything was so beautiful. And I was so happy. I felt like, oh my God, the world is not what I thought it was. It was amazing. And meeting all these people and meeting David, and it was just this instantaneous like recognition, like, oh my God, I know this guy from a different life. I know him very well. Like, and after that, it's just all these steps that came to me, and I knew that I was gonna follow this. I had to follow this. I had to follow this calling in my heart and follow the bliss and the light. I had to, and I knew I was gonna go for this. But the thing was, I had 2 boys at this point. They were 15, and apartment in Denmark, and 2 cats. And I was like, Holy Spirit, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? This is impossible. And then I went, after this retreat, I went back to Denmark, and I just prayed like, oh my God, you got to show me this very clearly. It has to be so obvious. It has to be so obvious for me what to do. And shortly after, I was blowing out candles in my apartment, in my living room, and one of the candles slipped out of my hand, and the wax from the candle went down on a photograph of me and my sons, and the wax only went over me. It was just, I was out. And then I heard in my mind, Svava, how does this feel? And then it was as this amazingly deep, I can't even explain it. This love came over me, like love for everything and everyone, one love. And I felt this deep, deep love for my sons, but the sticky love, the ego love, the wanting, your children to be in a different way, in a certain way, all these like control, it was not there. It was not there. It was just this deep, deep, deep universal love. And I had this feeling of completion. My part was complete. And I heard in my mind, job well done. And then I was like, okay, I know now, I know what my next steps are. And I was, okay, I need to have help to tell my boys this. And then a few days later, we were having dinner, and it just came out of my mouth. I had to follow this calling, and I just shared all, what has been going on. And they knew I'd been reading this blue book for a long time, and Mama had changed, and I was happy. And my sons, their reaction was, Mom, you gotta go for this. You have to follow your heart. You always taught us to follow our heart. So now you go and follow your heart. And they were just as happy as me. And my parents, the same thing. They were like, we can take your cats. And this apartment I was living in, it was their apartment I had been renting for like 12 years. And they said, I think it's time to sell the apartment too. And everything was just like that. And my sons, they wanted to live with my ex. I got divorced when they were 3 years old. So they had been like back and forth, mostly with me, but every other weekend. And so that was like for them too, something new. And everything just like worked out, all the unwinding from everything in Denmark. It was just like that. Like it was so clear that was the direction for me. So only after like 4 months, I went to Mexico to join the community, and I went just with one suitcase with my clothes. It was everything. I let go of everything, and amazingly easy to let go of, things in form, like the attachments to it, just things just like fell away, and such an amazing miracle. And then after I came to the community, like I think you shared, Kenneth, music, and I had started hearing some music before I entered the community, just a little bit, and but it started more and more and more, and started playing the guitar and started traveling with David and with other members of the community as well, and singing in front of people. And it's just like I had never imagined that I could do this, but that was my longing in my heart, was to be able to express and to share love and to just be who I am, and not listening to all the doubt thoughts about myself. So when I look back, it was like the solution was to be in that function, to be in serving love, serving God, and to give and to give and to give. All that I gave to myself, like is one of the lessons in the course. And just so miraculous, healing, healing of my mind as well, coming to the community. I had absolutely no idea what I was walking into. I didn't know anything about community. I hadn't even looked at the website and like searched and looked at things before I came. I was just so blindly just following my prompts. I had to follow this, because it was like I was at the point there way back, like there is no way out. It was either, I was very suicidal, is either die or follow this. So there was no, like, I was just like, I have to follow this. This is my option. And wow, what an amazing ride. And this is like this, I went to Mexico their first time. It was December 2016. So it's been a while, and been traveling, for 4 years. We were traveling and traveling and traveling. And I had to step into singing in front of people and doing everything, like, even I was so frustrated with this music. I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't sing. I had been told to shut up when I was singing, and I didn't believe that I could sing. And all this music coming to me in dreams and meditations, and I was like, no, Holy Spirit, Jesus, you got the wrong woman here. It is not for me. Find someone who is like a great singer or something, someone who can do anything. And I didn't know anything. I had piano lessons when I was 10 to 12. And I sang in a children's choir when I was like very young, but that's it. And I was like, I can't do any of this. So it was so hard to still do it. It was like, I remember David even told me once, I was like, I can't do it. I'm done with this music. I'm not going to do it anymore. It was all these like doubt thoughts coming up in my mind. And David, thank God he said that. It felt very harsh at that point. He said, Svava, if you're going to travel with me, you got to sing. and I was like, I don't want to be here alone. No, I have to go. And then, okay, I have to sing. So it was like, but it was like gentle and loving still, but I had to pull through and just follow this, because I knew what it gave me when I did it. It gave me so much to sing these beautiful words that had come, sing these songs, but the ego was like, no. So it took so much discernment and so much vigilance to let go of these doubt thoughts still, and it's an ongoing work to let go and rise up. We all got these amazing gifts from God. We all have it. We all have it the same. It is just to find the bliss and follow it, and just do it and practice over and over, not listening to this crap that is not the truth. It is not the truth. We are holy and beautiful and so loved by God, and God's will for us is perfect happiness, and we are equally loved, all the same. There's, it's just like, wow, yeah, shine our light. Well, I think that is my speech for now.
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad I hit the record button. You're on YouTube now. YouTube.
Thank you for your smile.